You've felt it, haven't you? The subtle shift in energy, the hushed conversations that stop when you enter the space. Your presence isn't just noticed, it's felt, like a ripple through reality itself. They've tried to challenge you, to undermine your strength, but they failed. And now, with no other option, they're scheming to attach themselves to you, desperate to ride the wave of your unstoppable ascent. The moment you first encounter someone, their composure cracks. You can see it in the way their eyes widen, a flash of uncertainty crossing their face before they quickly mask it with a forced smile. You speak, and their words falter, not because they lack words, but because your energy is too potent, too intense for them to fully grasp. It isn't just curiosity that stirs within them, it's an undercurrent of bewilderment, a gnawing confusion that they can't quite articulate. They try to place you within the confines of their understanding, but you defy every category, every assumption they've relied on to navigate their world. This unsettles them, as if they've suddenly realized that their carefully crafted realities might not be as stable as they thought. You observe them, seeing through the hollow pleasantries, the strained attempts at small talk. They may think they're subtle, but the truth is plain to you. Their minds are spinning, trying to dissect the essence of what makes you so different, so uncontainable. The more they scrutinize, the more they realize that they're not dealing with someone ordinary. Their discomfort grows, not just because they can't define you, but because they sense deep down that you carry something they cannot control. Consider that colleague who at first seemed warm and welcoming, but soon their demeanor shifts. Their smiles become tight, their compliments edged with doubt. You notice how they start to watch you more closely, their gaze lingering with an uneasy mix of envy and suspicion. Then the day comes when their true colors bleed through. They've tried to undermine your work, thinking it would shake your confidence, but instead, you effortlessly correct their sabotage, exposing their intentions in the process. They stand there, flustered and exposed, realizing too late that you're far more resilient than they ever imagined. Their plan has backfired, leaving them scrambling, desperate to regain a sense of control that has long slipped from their grasp. What they don't know is that your spirit is cloaked in a divine armor, a shield that turns their malice back onto them. Every attempt to bring you down only deepens their own fears, their own insecurities. You remain untouched, a force they cannot conquer, no matter how hard they try. They can't help themselves. The longer they're around you, the more they become consumed by the need to find a flaw, a chink in the armor that they can exploit. Every glance they throw your way is a calculated measure, every interaction a subtle probe to see if they can uncover something, anything, that might reveal a weakness. But with each attempt, their frustration grows because you remain steadfast, unyielding, untouchable. They study your movements, analyze your words, and scrutinize your every decision, hoping that one day they'll catch you slipping. Yet every time they think they've found a crack, it vanishes, leaving them with nothing but their own gnawing dissatisfaction. There's always one who becomes obsessed, someone in your social circle who, in their desperate quest to measure up, begins to mimic you. They adopt your style, echo your words, and mirror your mannerisms, but despite their efforts, they cannot capture the essence that sets you apart. Their attempts at imitation fall flat, their energy a poor reflection of yours. This failure only deepens their obsession, driving them to darker methods. They begin to weave rumors, casting shadows on your name in the hopes that it will dull your shine. But these whispers only serve to amplify your presence, as people quickly see through the falsehoods and are drawn even more to your authenticity. What they intended for harm turns into the very thing that elevates you further, leaving them to choke on the bitterness of their own envy. Your energy functions like a relentless mirror, reflecting their intentions back at them with unforgiving clarity. Every time they attempt to project their flaws onto you, they are instead confronted with the stark reality of their own inadequacies. It's a vicious cycle that eats away at them, their every failure to find a weakness in you highlighting the gaps in their own character. They wanted to diminish you, to prove that you are no different from them, but in the end, it is their own insecurities that are laid bare. You remain untouched, your essence intact, while they are left to grapple with the disquiet that comes from facing their own reflection. They've come to terms with a bitter truth. They cannot defeat you. Their schemes have failed. Their attempts to undermine you have only made you stronger, and now they find themselves desperate, drawn like moths to the flame of your light. Their next move is predictable. They seek to attach themselves to you, to bask in the radiance of your energy, because it's the only way they believe they can regain a shred of what they've lost. But you are not naive. You've seen this play before, and you know exactly what they're after. Their sudden reappearance in your life is no coincidence. It's a calculated attempt to latch onto your success, to siphon your energy for their own gain. Consider the so-called friend who vanished when you needed them most, only to reappear now that you're thriving. They approach you with a disarming smile, acting as if the years of silence never happened. They weave their way back into your life, trying to insinuate themselves into your projects, hoping to ride on the coattails of your achievements. They show up uninvited, offer unsolicited advice, and linger where they're not wanted, all in an effort to tether themselves to your light. But you've changed. You're no longer the person they once knew, and they quickly realize that the old tricks don't work anymore. You stand firm, erecting boundaries they never anticipated. They're blindsided by your strength, by the realization that you no longer need them, and more importantly, that you've grown far beyond their reach. Your intuition, honed by the guidance of your spiritual protectors, is sharper than ever. It cuts through their pretenses, making it impossible for them to deceive you. Each time they attempt to manipulate you, a wave of calm washes over you, a clear sign that you're safeguarded against their influence. The clarity you possess is a testament to the growth you've undergone, a strength they cannot touch. They came to drain your energy, but instead, they find themselves exposed and powerless. You remain untouchable, your light shining brighter than ever, as they retreat into the shadows where they belong. Their desperation morphs into a web of manipulation as they attempt to twist your perception and control your actions. They craft scenarios meant to make you feel insecure, hoping you'll doubt yourself, and turn to them for validation. They pull away, creating deliberate distance, believing that you'll be the one to bridge the gap, desperate for their attention. Yet their ploys fall flat. For what they fail to grasp is that your strength doesn't hinge on their presence. Instead of feeling disoriented by their absence, you find yourself more focused, more driven. Their absence is a void easily filled by your higher purpose, and the space they once occupied is now a fertile ground for your growth. Consider the romantic partner who, in a calculated move, begins to withdraw. They cancel plans, leave your messages unanswered, and feign indifference, all with the expectation that you'll crumble under the weight of their silence. They expect you to come running, to plead for their return, but instead, you channel your energy into your ambitions, building something far greater than any fleeting relationship could offer. When they finally confront you, angry that their absence hasn't broken you, they're met with your unwavering calm. You don't have time for their games. Your focus is elsewhere, on goals that transcend their petty attempts at control. The empire you're building demands your full attention, leaving no room for the drama they hope to incite. Their manipulation crumbles before your resolve, and now they're the ones left scrambling, chasing after a connection they took for granted. Your connection to the divine serves as your anchor, keeping you grounded even as they attempt to uproot your peace. Every time they try to stir chaos in your life, your spiritual energy strengthens, fortifying you against their attempts. Their tactics may be steeped in desperation, but you are untouchable, shielded by a power far greater than their schemes. While they struggle to regain control, you rise, untouched and unbothered, your path illuminated by the very force they sought to diminish. Their games have no power here, and now they're left to face the truth. You cannot be manipulated, controlled, or brought down. Their tactics crumble, and they're left facing a harsh truth. You are beyond their control. This stark realization sends them spiraling into a storm of emotional turmoil. What once seemed like a game to them, a means of pulling your strings, has now turned into an obsession. They can't comprehend why their methods, so effective on others, have no hold over you. The frustration gnaws at them, and with every failed attempt to break you, their grip on reality weakens. They begin to unravel, their thoughts consumed by the one they cannot bend, the one who refuses to yield. Consider the family member who has long wielded guilt as their weapon of choice, using emotional manipulation to keep you in line. They've always relied on your love, expecting it to be the lever that shifts your decisions to their favor. But now, you've drawn a line in the sand, one they never expected. You establish firm boundaries, and for the first time they find themselves powerless against you. Their carefully constructed facade of control collapses, and in its place, they're left with nothing but raw vulnerability. The night is no longer a sanctuary for them. It becomes a time of restless torment, driving them to reach out in desperation. They call you in the dead of night, their voice trembling with sobs, pleading for your attention, hoping to rekindle the old power dynamic. But your response is steady, unyielding. You remind them that the days of manipulation are over and that your boundaries are non-negotiable. The shift in power is palpable, and they are left to wrestle with the void where their control once resided. The universe, in its wisdom, has granted you the strength to sever these toxic ties. With each step you take toward your own freedom, those who once held power over you are forced to confront the shadows within themselves. Their demons, long masked by their control over you, now rise to the surface, leaving them to grapple with the very chaos they sought to inflict upon you. As you ascend, their descent is inevitable, driven by the realization that they can no longer manipulate or contain the force that you have become. They reach the point where resistance is futile. Their once mighty ego, which fueled their attempts to diminish you, now lies in tatters. They see it clearly. You've ascended to a level they can neither reach nor deny. Submission to your power becomes inevitable, yet their pride festers beneath the surface, refusing to openly acknowledge your superiority. Instead, they battle within, struggling to reconcile the bitter truth that their attempts to subdue you have only fortified your dominance. Think of that colleague who made undermining you their personal mission. Every project was an opportunity for them to sow doubt, every conversation a chance to subtly chip away at your confidence. But now, the tables have turned. With your well-deserved promotion, they find themselves beneath your leadership, a position that gnaws at their pride. Their resentment bubbles over in meetings where they attempt to undermine your authority, with passive-aggressive comments and underhanded jabs. But your response is a masterclass in grace and authority. Every word you speak, every decision you make, only further cements your position. They may try to challenge you, but each attempt only serves to magnify your strength, your unshakable command. Their struggle to regain control becomes a self-inflicted wound, deepening with every failed effort to bring you down. Your rise is not merely a result of hard work, it is the outcome of your spiritual ascension, a journey guided by forces far beyond their comprehension. The divine has placed you in this position of leadership, ensuring that those who once opposed you now find themselves compelled to follow, however begrudgingly. Their every step is dictated by the unseen hand that guides you, making their resistance an exercise in futility. No matter how they twist and turn within, they are bound by the reality that you are the one they must answer to. The forces at work have aligned to ensure that your influence is irresistible, leaving them no choice but to concede, even if only in their hearts. They may never speak it aloud, but their submission is written in every action, every grudging acquiescence to your authority. Their final gambit to control you spirals into a catastrophic failure, each calculated move turning against them like a snake devouring its own tail. They thought they could manipulate the circumstances, pull strings behind the scenes to bring you down, but their schemes unravel spectacularly. Every trap they set for you ensnares them instead, tightening with every passing moment until there's no escape. They are left exposed, stripped of the power they once wielded so arrogantly. The humiliation they intended for you now hangs over them like a dark cloud, a constant reminder of their own downfall. Consider the former friend who, driven by jealousy, tries to sabotage your career. They whisper lies into the ear of your boss, crafting stories meant to discredit you, expecting that with one swift stroke, you'll be dismissed and they'll revel in your downfall. But the universe has other plans. The lies they've spun are soon untangled, and the truth surfaces with a blinding clarity. Instead of you being the one to suffer, it is they who face the consequences. The trust they once had is shattered, and it is they who are shown the door, their reputation in ruins. In their desperation, they reach out to you, hoping for some semblance of support, but you've already moved beyond their reach. Their attempt to destroy you has only led to their own destruction, and now they must grapple with the void they've created for themselves. Your spiritual protection is not just a shield, it is a mirror that reflects every negative action back to its source with amplified force. The universe stands as your unwavering ally, ensuring that those who wish you harm are met with the full weight of their own intentions. The energy they directed toward you returns to them tenfold, crushing their attempts to control or harm you. As they flounder in the chaos of their own making, you remain untouchable, moving forward with the strength and clarity that comes from knowing you are divinely protected. Their plans have backfired spectacularly, leaving them to face the very consequences they sought to impose on you. In their final, desperate grasp at regaining what they've lost, they try to reattach themselves to you. They believe that by being close to you, they can reclaim some of the power they once wielded, but by now, you've surged too far ahead. Your growth has accelerated, fueled by a strength they never anticipated, and their attempts to keep up are laughable at best. They stumble in the wake of your progress, their efforts futile and clumsy, unable to match the pace you've set. Think of the ex-partner who abandoned you when you were at your lowest, only to reappear now that you've found your footing and are thriving. They send you lengthy messages, dripping with nostalgia, desperately trying to rekindle a connection that you've long since outgrown. They wax poetic about the so-called good times, hoping to tug at your heartstrings, to worm their way back into your life as if nothing has changed. But everything has changed. You've moved on, finding someone who truly values and understands your worth, someone who stands by you through thick and thin. Their reattachment attempt is met with nothing but indifference. They're left in the dust, a relic of your past, watching helplessly as you continue to rise, leaving them behind as you ascend to heights they can no longer reach. The divine forces have aligned your path in such a way that only those truly in sync with your energy can walk beside you. Those who try to latch onto you for selfish reasons, hoping to siphon off your success or bask in your glow, find themselves unable to keep up. As you climb higher, the distance between you and them grows wider, until they are but a distant memory, unable to follow the trajectory you're on. Your ascension is fueled by a purpose they cannot comprehend, a power that leaves them stumbling in the shadows as you soar into the light. Their attempts to reattach themselves only serve to highlight how far you've come and how far they've fallen behind. You continue forward, untouched and unburdened by their desperate grasp, guided by forces that ensure you're always moving toward your destined greatness. You are not merely enduring, you are flourishing beyond their wildest expectations. Every attempt they've made to crush your spirit has only served to fuel your rise. Your energy is a force of nature, impossible to contain, impossible to suppress. They've exhausted every tactic, yet here you stand, unyielding, with a brilliance that blinds those who once sought to diminish you. As they desperately try to latch onto the power they can no longer comprehend, they find themselves lost, unable to keep pace with your ascension. You've outgrown their reach, and your connection to the divine solidifies your path, ensuring that no obstacle can halt your progress. You're not just a chosen one. You are a force destined for greatness. Those who once doubted you are now mere spectators, left to watch as you claim the heights that were always meant for you. They can no longer touch you, no longer influence your path. Your journey is yours alone, driven by a purpose that transcends their understanding. You are unstoppable, and nothing can take that away from you. Now, it's time to let your story be known. Share the moments when you realized your true power, the times when you stood firm against the forces that tried to bring you down. Let your voice be the beacon for others who walk the same path, and together, you'll illuminate a world that needs to see the strength of those who are truly chosen.